So, I mean, like most, Hawaii kids, we try all these different sports because, the weather's good. We're outdoors majority of the time. And then, the story is pretty common, actually. Most people start football a little later, right? So what was that conversation like, either with your mom or your parents? And what made them say, okay, let's go ahead and you can play Pop Warner now when you're fifth grade?
Just like I said, growing up and hearing the stories, hearing about, okay, like your dad and your uncle were these great athletes. And yeah, my dad and my uncle, they were all state 3-sport, football, basketball, track. But the stories that always stuck out and the stories that always circled back were football. And so I knew from a young age that I wanted to play football. It was just a matter of when that was going to happen. So, fourth grade rolled around, like I said, and I was begging my mom to play football, and she wasn't quite ready to let me go yet. My dad was trying to do some convincing, but, mom always gets the final say. So I waited that extra year till the fifth grade. But at that point, I actually had to choose between football and soccer, because at the time soccer was actually a fall sport.
Yes.
So I had to choose between what I wanted to do, and it was almost a no-brainer for me. I don't remember the decision being very hard, being that hey, I want to start playing football. So I stepped away from soccer and started playing football, and I still kept up with basketball, and I ran track in the spring. So yeah, I think being multi-dimensional and playing multiple sports really feeds into just being a better athlete. Being comfortable doing multiple different things, having different skill sets that you can't always get from specializing in one sport. And sure, there's a lot of guys that, basketball players that, all they do is play basketball year round, go to all the clinics and shoot around. But, I just felt that being multifaceted, makes you a better athlete overall.
Sure. Yes, and we see that. That's a common theme, I think, with a lot of the, athletes that go on to play college even. You have that background playing all of these different sports, getting all of these different skill sets that you don't get from one sport, right? Now, backtracking a little bit to football, actually, I can relate to your story. There's always something that I can relate a lot to the guests.
Yeah.
Because I was probably the opposite of you in that I never thought I would play football in my life, but I actually played Pop Warner when I was fifth grade. And it was the same thing. I played soccer before that. And soccer was more, I would say, my sport. But then people convinced me, hey, try play football.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. And then had to stop soccer. So I didn't play soccer all the way until I got to high school again, which was tragic. But anyway, after that, I played football. And then, yes, you have to decide, in Hawaii especially, a lot of the seasons, you have to make a choice eventually.
Yep.
So going back to that first couple years of football, what was that like? Was your dad and your uncle helping you a lot, or did they kind of hands off, stay away, or what was your experience like?
I wish they were hands off and stayed away. My dad was always my coach growing up. Basketball, football, track, everything. He was my coach, and I look back and I appreciate it now. But as a kid, it's very difficult to separate when he's your dad and when he's your coach, right? Because every criticism, every critique, you take personally, because all you want to do is make your parents proud. All you want to do is live up to the expectations that everybody has, being that you're the son of one of the better athletes that's ever come out of the state. So, it was definitely had its fair share of struggles. And to be honest, I sucked at football to start. I was not good. I remember I came in my very first hell week, so to say, where they're trying you out a bunch of different positions. And, because they were knowing who my dad was, assuming that I was this awesome athlete, they're putting me at wide receiver and quarterback and, trying me out at the skill positions. I couldn't catch the ball. It was like trying to catch a football with 2 tennis rackets, and it was not good. So I ended up playing on the line for my first 2 seasons. I was an offensive lineman, defensive lineman, just trying to figure it out, know, and yeah, I was not good. I would argue to say that, even all the way up through high school, I was never the best player on the team. So, it was interesting, but, I think that builds character as well as, not instantly being good at something, you have to work.
Yes.
And you have to work harder than everybody else.
Yeah.
So, just knowing that really kind of paved the way for me to be able to get to where I got to.
Yeah.
Never getting complacent or never thinking that I was too good of an athlete or that I was, on a higher level than anybody else.
Yes.
So yeah, interesting start to my football career.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, if it wasn't for football at that stage in your life, right? What was your other favorite sport or sport that you excelled at?
That's a difficult one. I mean, I always liked track just because I was fast naturally. That was something that did come naturally to me is the speed aspect of things. And, I was always pretty competitive in track. When it came to team sports, I really did like soccer. That was probably my second favorite, but I had to choose.
Yeah.
And so, I would say that soccer was probably my next one.
So those things, they translate over to football, right? Because the speed component definitely translate. Even soccer, just the conditioning aspect, footwork and all of that, that definitely helps you in football too.
Absolutely.